them first. Like as a bartender, it's like, hey, they want to buy you around.
Right.
And I always tell the guys, like, I got to check with them first. I don't know what their situation is.
Right.
I don't know how like much they've been drinking, if they're going to cut it off. Let me check with them first. I always tell the guy that. I was like, I'm never just going to assume. I'm like,
right.
Let me check with them first, and then we'll see if we can get them around on you.
Yeah.
Evan, you had some breaking news, didn't you?
Oh yeah, so just a thing I was talking about earlier is like something just to add to, just the podcast. Very small things, things that happen in the news, that pertain to the industry and such things like that pertain to us and what we do. So recently, this has been big on the news. Actually, I googled bartender news, and a friend of mine, Kevin Harris, had sent me a link about this recently. So a man in Texas had shot and killed 8 people in a home after drinking at a bar one night. The girl in question, the bartender in question, we'll just call her last name Glass, Mrs. Glass, we'll call her. She had served this gentleman 5 to 6 drinks, is what had happened. At the time, she had actually talked to another coworker and maybe possibly a manager. They don't really like put it out there, but it sounded like somebody that was above her about the situation, that he was acting weird, that he was being a little bit aggressive, talking about things that he needed to take care of. And then so she brought that to the attention to him, and then they allowed him to keep drinking. So what happened was that in the affidavit, they find that, he's in the bar spinning a knife around. They notice that he's pulling a gun out of his side, like his.
What? How did it escalate to that?
Where's this at?
This is in Texas. This happened. This happened about 6 days ago or 7 days ago or something like that. So she's been charged for over serving for laws that are in place. They're here in Virginia. I'm sure there are most states where if you notice this one is intoxicated or acting a little bit indifferent, you should probably shut it down. So after he had left the bar, he went home where his wife was and friends and shot and killed 8 people, basically in that situation. So now she's being held accountable for that situation. She's not going to get charged with the fullest as far as like any kind of. It's basically just negligence behind the bar. So I thought that was a thing to bring up to talk about. Another thing on top of that, today Tiger Woods is being sued. Him and his girlfriend for the bar that they own called the Woods. They recently, or a couple
It's
days,
little on the nose.
Yeah, just a couple days ago. A couple days ago on the same subject. This has to do with bartenders and the conversation of this thing. They had overserved one of their employees, and then he left there at 6 p.m. and crashed his car, and then shortly died afterwards. So now he's being sued, and his girlfriend's being sued, and the restaurant group. So basically, this comes out of the idea of like the responsibility of like over serving people and then having that like awareness. You know what I mean? Just you were talking about earlier, being aware of like what we're doing as far as like, okay, we're serving. This guy's buying drinks for this lady or these ladies. Let's just make sure that they're okay with that situation. So for us as bartenders, I mean, we all have been there. We've seen people drink a lot, and then
We have as well.
And then we have done the exact same things. And these are scenarios that have put people in huge jeopardy.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we're the ones responsible. It's
Right.
like,
Yeah, absolutely.
we're the last line of defense for alcohol. It's like we choose whether you're going to drink or not at our bar.
Right. And then real quick on this thing,
Yeah.
just for as far as the opinion of my opinion goes, in the situation with the Texas girl, I think there's a deeper root, and that they're making a big thing about a bartender. Where in the reality, there's a deeper issue in line with this. You know what I mean? The story is a bartender served this person, and then that is the story. Whereas, like, what brought him to that bar in the first place, and how did we even get there? Before that even happened, he could have just gone to the convenience store and bought a case of beer.
Wasted in the fucking parking lot of a fucking Walmart.
Right, and I think that in that situation, she is being demonized because of this, nationwide media.
Yeah, she's become the scapegoat. Yeah,
she's a scapegoat. There's literally. I saw 20 articles about this on it was CNN, Time, everything. Like, it was everywhere. And I think that she's become a scapegoat as a bartender. It sounded like she was trying to do her due diligence and like talk to somebody and say, like, let's cut him off. But she's still being painted as a bad person. In the Tiger Woods situation, I don't know. I'm still on the fence.
Well, it's hard because it's an employee, you know what I mean? And so you kind of look at people and you're like, you're an adult. You should be able to handle yourself.
Right.
But, I mean, we've all been trainers. You know what I mean? You've trained countless people at the bar prior, you too, John, I'm sure, maybe, at some point. And that's always a question that comes up. You know what I mean? A new bartender, let's say she's barely 21 or he's barely 21, and he's like, how the hell do you cut people off?
Right.
Like, I mean, they come here all the time. Like, I don't want to ruin their night. I don't know about you guys. I feel like the older I get, I'm so comfortable cutting people off. Like, I don't even care anymore. Like, I'm just like, look, man.
Sorry.
Like, sorry. We're trying to have a good time. I just want you to be safe. Like, I'll call you a fucking Uber right now. I don't care. I just want to kind of make sure you get home safely. Everyone's having a good time. You know I'll see you at some point this weekend again.
Right.
I'm not trying to be a dick. But so many people are scared of doing that I think that's how it escalates.
Right, it is.
You know what I mean? Because you don't want to be looked at as an unlikable person.
Right, you're the bad guy now.
You're the bad guy, and you're like, well, I want to get good tips. I don't want to be a bad bartender. No, you're being a good, responsible bartender
100%.
by making sure that they get out of there safely.
And you're protecting their safety. I've watched, no names, but people that I've worked with that have that exact issue, like, but I just don't want to. I feel awkward. You know what I mean? I feel bad or whatever.
Because it's a weird situation. You don't want to be the person that cuts them off.
And I've literally seen that situation where it's like, you should stop because, like, this is a bad situation. And then that person, like, just falls backwards, hits their heads, and is, like, just, like, not blacked out from drinking, but just because of the knock that they had when they hit the concrete floor. You know what I mean?
Or something crazy like that.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's...
No, I was going to say, going back to, the whole situation of asking... someone that is about to get like a cocktail, bought for him. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like asking the other party, asking the woman, like, hey, would you like another one? You know what I mean? And not forcing those things because, like, I think the main thing though, what I've learned is that, like, as a culture, drinking, we, like, as humans, for the culture of drinking, we don't really get an opportunity to know what casually having a drink is, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? To just, like, we don't really, it's difficult. Sometimes it could be real difficult to, like, know your limit.
Oh, yeah.
You
know
what I mean? 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, especially what are you drinking? You know what I mean? A Long Island's going to hit you a lot harder in 5 minutes than a cold Coors Light.
And we all, I mean? And we all know the difference between, like, like a fucking 250-pound man and 135-pound, like, woman. You know what I mean? Like, drinking, so, like, speaking about, like, cutting off, like, I've been yelled at by plenty of men and women, definitely women.
Yeah.
About that. You know what I mean? Because, like, if everybody's there having a good time, and all parties are within understanding, like, it puts me in a really awkward place. You know what I mean? Like, if that situation that those two people start, like, if you got two customers and they're like, they just met and they're vibing, you know what I mean? Like, where's that line? You know what I mean? That line of, like, where you should cut them off or her off or him off.
And that,
you know what I'm saying?
It's tough, and that comes
because
down to your
just think about where where we are with, like, our culture and, like, all the things that have happened.
Oh yeah,
the Me Too movement, like, all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Like, you want to be like, you're the one responsible. Really, that's how I feel for, like, that next person's, like for the next situation.
Oh man, like,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
I jokingly said this the second podcast where I said, I'm a professional bad influence. I make babies and DUIs happen. And I said that, I mean, I was jokingly saying that, but the truth is, I do. Do you know what I mean? And I mean, I was kind of laughing, like, making a joke of it, but the truth is like, we do have some sort of responsibility because we are in those forks of the road. We actually stand right there at the crossroads sometimes in people's lives, and we literally can send them this way or that way. I mean, and what people don't understand is that is a heavier responsibility that we have.
Heavy.
Do you know what I mean?
I will cut you the fuck off, dude. If
it's different here in Virginia too.
If I get, like,
it's much different. The cost is, tremendous.
Because, like, New York City is a huge drinking culture as it is.
Right.
So you guys fucking Uber and fucking train
exactly,
everywhere.
especially with the fact that we have
better
decent
I was going to say, your
transportation.
public transportation.
You can always subway home if you need to, take the train home, or if you're really fucked up, punch in your address in an Uber, fall asleep in the Uber. He wakes you up when you're there. You're like, all right, cool.
It's too easy nowadays not to get home.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't have to be that manly man puffing his chest that, I can still drive.
No.
You don't need
Uber.
that.
Uber exists here in Virginia, right?
Uber,
Lyft,
Uber. I mean, come on.
It's cheaper down here.
It is. Yeah.
It's
Come
way
on,
cheaper.
guys.
I mean, I was in San Diego, and it's
probably like a third or quarter of what you
$6
probably pay out there. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I will. I said this a couple episodes ago, and I'll say it again. I have no problem cutting somebody off if it makes me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because I, one, want everyone to be safe. And then two, I also don't want that on my fucking conscience.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like any part of it. You know what I mean? Like whatever your decisions are your decisions, you know? And if you want to go and do that, sure. But I'm not going to be the catalyst of that decision.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel about it.
And that's fair. Yeah.
So, especially like I've had situations where I have to cut the guy off because he's making one of my female customers uncomfortable. I'm like, dude.
Oh, yeah.
You're done.
Right.
You're done. Cut off. This is the thing about like,
you're fucking out of here.
Yeah. And that's like, I can attest, like my character has changed a lot, or like the type of person I am has changed a lot just living in New York for 3+ years now.
Right.
Where like before I might have been like that, like, oh, I don't know if I want to cut him off. I'm like, now I have
No,
a
it's
fucking
done.
attitude. I'm like, dude.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like over the
this
years
is
of
a-
bartending, you just get thicker
Yeah,
and
and then
thicker
there's like a
skin.
New York thing. It's like, get the fuck out of here. What are
Right.
you doing? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. I think with age and experience that comes too. Like I think of like, you know, towards my later years at Yard House, there's this guy, Bradford, rich guy, you know, rich kid, lives up in the top of the West End, doesn't pay for anything. You know, you hear about him, comes and
Yeah,
gets
of course.
wasted, but he's a creeper. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Not a bad looking guy, but a creeper at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So there was a couple girls at the end of the bar, you know, girls' night or whatever, that sort of situation, and they obviously don't want to talk to him because he has teeth like he's been chewing on a purple crayon.
I got one of those guys.
You know what I'm talking about? He's been chewing on like this purple crayon. He's probably had 2 bottles of wine.
mouth.
Yeah, he's trying to talk to these girls, and they have their hand, you know, against their face, like, please leave me alone. And he's cussing at him. And at that point, it's like, I grab the wine, I chuck it. He's like, give me wine back. I'm like, no, and I chuck it on the floor. And he gets completely fucking irate, and it's like, you want to fucking fight me, man? I'm like, let's go. I'll meet you outside. So he rushes to the front door. You know what I mean? And I'm just standing there like, perfect.
You pull a Patrick Swayze.
You know what I mean? Bye.
See
Yeah,
ya.
later.
Yeah, no, I had a-
I'll meet you outside, man. Yeah.
yeah, no, one of the first bars I worked
Hell
at.
yeah, let's go outside.
Yeah.
With all the security.
Similar situation with one of the first bars I worked at. Guy's name is Frank. And like I'm talking like he's a creepy 40, 50, he looks 70, but he's like in his 40s.
Right.
You know, because of everything he's done. He
Right.
like works for a strip club, and he's like just bringing stacks of cash, and he's trying to buy like everyone drinks, and he's creeping on everyone at the bar. And I deal with it for like a little bit because I'm like, he is dropping 20 after 20 after 20.
He's
but
part
then
of your revenue. Right.
Yeah, exactly. But then at a certain point, I'm like, dude, Frank, leave the girls alone. They don't want to talk to you. And he'll like last for like maybe 10 minutes and then go back. And I'm like, oh, God.
They
okay,
don't
this-
want to work in your
it's
club,
like,
Frank.
God, dude. Yeah, seriously.
Stop creeping on him. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's tough, but I mean, I think, you know, again, like living in New York or just the time and experience, like, you know, we get that point where we, yeah, I mean, it's something that we deal with.
John, did you say you have another story?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay,
Do it.
fucking send it to
So
me.
like, kind of like, you know, we were dealing with heavy issues of like, you know, bartenders being the last line of defense. Who's responsible ultimately? Is it the bartender? Is it the management company that should have been on hands-on more?
Right, managers at the time.
So we're gonna get away from that heavy topic a little bit.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
go
yeah.
back a little bit to like the dating culture.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I have a story that just happened recently. It was could not make this up. Like I'm talking. Yeah, I'm still kind of like, all right, sure, that happened. So I'm at the bar and it's a slow Saturday night. It's unusually slow. It's like some Greek Easter happening, so it's like dead at my bar. But I only have like 3 customers left. So it's like 2 girls. They're talking to themselves. They're drinking Aperol Spritz all night, so I'm making them the best Aperol Spritz they've ever had.
Hell yeah.
Oh my god,
And then
I love it.
this guy Chris, who's by himself, he's a writer, and he's talking big game to like everyone at the bar. Like, oh yeah, a couple of my screenplays have been picked up for a pilot. I'm like, okay, whatever, cool, dude. So I talk to him, and then I start like engaging the girls a little bit, and then I get them to be friends. And I'm like, cool. So now they can talk to each other. I'm like jumping in the conversation when I can, but I'm still working. But the way my bar is set up, there, like the back side of the bar is a garage door that opens up, and then you can just see across the street into the 2nd floor apartment. And they notice a party going on in that apartment of just girls dancing around, and they're like, "Hey, they look like they're having fun. We're gonna join their party." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, sure you are." And then like they close their tab out. I think that's that. And then sure enough, I look back, and there they are buzzing on these girls' apartment number. The girls let them up. They pick up some beer. They join their party. I'm like,
No
holy
way.
shit, they did.
Fucking New York.
They did it.
They
All right.
did it.
So then, like, I think that's the end of the story. I'm like, all right, cool, they made it. So I'm shutting out the bar and bringing furniture in, and then all of a sudden I just hear my name being yelled out from the 2nd floor window. I'm like, oh god. like, John, come. And like, join the party.
Oh my God, John, we
join
need
the
you.
party, blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, fine. So I end up actually closing the bar, joining them out of